in the Bundesliga. Big compliment to Vincent Kompany, how he has managed to discipline the team, found the right balance. You can see the players now enjoy playing there.
Hi and welcome to the Fussball Channel. I'm your host Marcus Fjørtoft, and as always joined by Jan Fjørtoft. Dad, good to be back. I'm back in my familiar environment with the shirts, and behind me we got a Dortmund. We got the Chiefs shirt back here. Third straight Super Bowl. They're going for history, and that's one of the few perks. I hope they don't listen to the in-laws, but that's one of the few perks of being with someone from Kansas, I guess. Unrelated. How are you? How's the weekend been? Before we delve into Bundesliga matters.
Well, I worked at the studio in Oslo the whole weekend. It was a long weekend because we did it from morning to night. And yesterday with Fulham and Manchester United at the end, a game that deserved a scruffy goal, and they got it, Manchester United. But I liked their body language. I liked the way they keep together. And this Amorim, that we have to say happy birthday to him. He's 40 today. He said after this time in Manchester United, he feels like he's 50. But there is something about him. He's a very nice. I like him. Good charisma. But wow, what about his statement? First of all, this is maybe the worst Manchester United team in the history. Okay, they're winning, and then he says, "I would rather play with my goalkeeping coach. He's 63, than playing with a player like Rashford." He was asked about Rashford because I will go for attitude, how they dedicate on and off the pitch. So I was in the studio. And I saw you were at Stamford Bridge.
I was there for my first ever WSL game. Big game, Chelsea against Arsenal.
Women's Super League.
Yep, and sold out Stamford Bridge. Just a few observations. One, I was very impressed by the level. I thought that the football that's being played there, it was very impressive. They had two very good center forwards. I think you would appreciate that in Alicia Russo and Ramirez. Good, but just good ball technicians in there. And also, interestingly, it was a totally different atmosphere because you could hear it was a bit more high-pitched because it's more kids and more women there, of course. But a sport or part of the sport that's trying to find new ways of being commercially viable, of fan engagement and whatnot. So it was a very positive experience for me to be a part of, and interesting to see how these clubs build themselves as not only football teams but also as commercially viable entities, if you may. So overall, a pretty good and chill weekend, and we won't touch upon the Arsenal red card just because Arsenal won that game as well.
I don't let me stay with Women's Super League because it's interesting. First of all, yourself and me, we've always been interested in women's football. Some of your best friends are some of the best players in the world. Marcus, in Norwegian with Ada and Bergsvang. We also know Caroline Graham Hansen a lot, that we have on different events. And funny enough, the match winner was Guro Reiten. Scored a penalty for Chelsea. Always been one of my favorite players. Yeah. I remember I had her on my annual Skaugum, where we do with the royal family with charity once a year, and she was there. Then she played for my club Lillestrøm, and now she's at Chelsea, of course, and scoring the winner. Well. So brilliant. And it's also interesting, and I listen to a lot of podcasts about that. As you were saying, there is a different kind of fans that is going to Women's Super League. So it's interesting prospect of communication strategy. What kind of PR things will you do? Is that also an improvement for men football? Because there is a fewer women. We just have to go to a game to see that. But this is a new crowd developing into women's football. And my track record in football, I started as a football pundit in NRK, the state television in Norway, in 2002. I was fixed there. And they asked me, "Are you going to do women's football too?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm a football pundit, aren't I?" So it's unbelievable to see, and I'm very, very glad to see, again, England being in front of commercializing Women's Super League is brilliant. We know that they've done well in Lyon, where Ada is playing, Carolina playing in Barcelona. We know about that. So, yeah, great. Good to see you there. And I guess that was a great atmosphere.
Yeah, no, it was. There's a lot of exciting elements to it. And also because of what I say, there's less reliance on media rights and what have you, increasingly so with tickets. But nonetheless, they have to find more creative ways about how do we make business as well, and that's part of the branding aspect and communication aspect that you allude to as well.
And I did forget to mention Germany, because Germany was the one really who started off being very serious professional of the sport. Both Caroline Graham Hansen, Ada Hegerberg, they started off in Germany, and FSV Frankfurt used to be the best team there. Birgitte Prinz, I remember her being a superstar when I was there. Now this Frankfurt team has gone into Frankfurt, so Eintracht Frankfurt, Frauenmannschaft, the women's team. I know their coach. I've always been invited to. Hopefully, I can see them, because now they're one of the two of the best teams. It will be between them and Bayern Munich. So, okay, exactly. a bridge to.
No,
Bayern
it's
Munich,
good. It's
Marcus.
Good that we touched upon a bit. I mean, deservingly so. I'm happy we did. And then we can go into the Bundesliga matters. And well, we have a very hectic Champions League week ahead of us. All games being played at the same time on Wednesday. But it's with the Champions League perhaps as a bit of a backdrop that we also discuss this title race, because we had Bayern beat Freiburg. Harry Kane scored his first goal from open play, believe it or not, that for the first time since 22nd of November. A great turn, Eric Dyer pass, a great turn from Harry Kane. I'm sure you appreciated the turn and the finish. Kim scored off a set piece, and then Freiburg through Ginter got one back, but they won 2-1 after having lost to Feyenoord very deservedly so in Rotterdam. And then Leverkusen up 2-0 against RB Leipzig, lose the 2-goal lead through David Raum deflection off a free kick, which went through Hincapié, and then Tapsoba on goal. So 2-2 there, meaning Leverkusen are 6 points behind Bayern Munich, and with a significantly weaker goal difference as well. Or is it just Bayern's goal difference that is that good? But with that, Dad, is the title race over?
The title race is not over, but you go into weekends, and if you are a big fan of German football, as we are, we always wanted to be a competition. And the last 10, 12 years, except for a couple of years, sometimes we kind of discussed if Bayern have won till Christmas. I think that Bayern will win the league, but I hope, and that is nothing against Bayern, it's just because I love the excitement of the German Bundesliga. So Freiburg at home, you always say it's hard to go places, but Bayern were the better team. And as you were saying, the Kane goal, wow, have a look. In a Spurs miserable week, some Spurs fans will have a look at Dyer Kane, but Kane turned around, and the shot, I mean, it was 121 km/h, so it was a very, very hard shot Harry Kane did there. Musiala hit the post early in the game. But somehow, as a neutral, you would hope that maybe Bayer will take Leipzig on, as they did, and get a win there, and they could leave some points behind them, Company and Bayern. But they have been brilliant in the Bundesliga. We are talking about Bundesliga now. I think this was the 5th win in a row. There is calmness around the club. Yes, there is a lot of discussion about the extensions, but I think people have kind of accepted that process got to go the way they do. It seems like Davies going to be the first one that maybe fix up his contract. I also think Joshua Kimmich will soon be there. And then Musiala, one of the two superstars in German football at the moment. Yes, I'm talking about Florian Wirtz and Musiala. I think that is a bit longer perspective on that one, but I think that he will end up, because in his career to be at Bayern Munich now at the moment is great for him. But just as Leverkusen, Florian Wirtz hits the post 3 times. So the first one, it ended up with Patrick Schick scoring the goal.
But did you see the goal? I mean, did you see the lead up to that first?
The dribbling.
Oh my God.
And as I heard the commentator as well said, Florian Wirtz should have had that goal. And I think everybody who will see that, I mean, he has this shot. It's so simple. This trick is so simple, but though so effective. He comes in, he kind of wants to shoot, and then he takes them around. And the Leipzig defenders, they were all over the place. So they were 2-0 up. And it just tells you the kind of story a bit about Leipzig, yes, to come back good at home, but still Leverkusen should have taken all 3 points there, and they had enough chances to do that. So they will be disappointed with that. And in terms of a long answer at your question, Mark, is the title race over? Well, I would have liked to see the 15th of February. It's Leverkusen against Bayern. Bayern seem to have to go into a playoff, so they have to play an extra game in Champions League to come to the next thing after that happened in Rotterdam against Feyenoord. And then you may say that if Leverkusen win there, but then there still be point behind them, and they would still have a worse goal difference. So, well, we just have to hope for us neutrals.
Yeah, when we look at the remaining games, I kind of focused in on the away games. Leverkusen have Eintracht and Stuttgart away, and then Bayern have Leverkusen away, Stuttgart away, and RB Leipzig away. RB Leipzig there without European football to focus on. Yes, they are in the cup, but nonetheless. So, yeah, let's see. I mean, Bayer Leverkusen should have won again. They have their only loss in the Bundesliga this season. They suffered to RB Leipzig after having been in the lead. Funny enough, with the Wirtz first goal as well, what I loved about that first goal where it eventually hit the post and Schick scored off the rebound was Florian Wirtz took on Orban, went past another player, incredible play, and when Schick scored, he had a stare down on Willi Orban because Orban had looked to bully Florian Wirtz a bit, and after he took that, I guess you have an assist, he just stared at Willi Orban like that, just stared for a good 4 or 5 seconds.
He's a character.
He is a character, but I mean, you can back it up. I mean, for me, it's him and Musiala, the two most entertaining players to watch. And the way they just glide past their opponents and the ease by which they play football with. I mean, I think as humans, we have such a fascination with people that do it so effortlessly. Obviously, their skill hasn't come effortlessly. So yes, there's some natural talent, but a lot of training. But when we see players like that express themselves so effortlessly, you're just in awe. And Florian Wirtz is just one of those players, incredible. And we're still waiting to get official confirmation whether he is extended too as well, Dabo. I guess we'll have to do a separate episode about that in terms of contracts extension, etc.
I think we do, and it's interesting. Also, we're recording this late Monday afternoon. So when some people listen to this, we know the results in the Champions League. But the Vincent company, they're very, very happy with him at Bayern. But, well, we've heard that before, so we don't take that in. But I was a bit skeptical in the way that he kind of have his plan A going through with that. What do you do with plan B? And you may argue that has happened in the Champions League because 3-0 against Feyenoord, that is a bad result for any German club in Holland, by the way. The big rivalry between them. But they're very happy with him. So when people listen to this, they maybe know the Champions League result. But in the Bundesliga, big compliment to Vincent Kompany, how he has managed to discipline the team, found the right balance. You can see the players now enjoy playing there. You can see that the players, and it's Gnabry, Leroy Sané, what will happen with them? So there's a good mixture right now with Ebel and Freund say, well, if you're running for a contract, you run maybe a bit more. And so I like the hierarchy in Bayern. It seems to be good. Now they're even talking about extending Thomas Müller's contract. Let's see what's happening there. Manuel Neuer is just around the corner. So everything okay, but Marcus, if you say, and we will do an extra on this after the transfer window is over in terms of in and out in German football, but to get Musiala, get Kimmich, get Leroy Sané, get Davies on extended contract, that is a big thing. They're speaking about Handgeld, signing on fee for Davies in the height of 20 million euro. And people will say, yeah, but that's unbelievable high. Yeah, but if they're going to buy that quality in the market, it's 50, 60. So it's all down to the player's position at the table.
And just as we conclude the Bayern Leverkusen talk, also mentioning the fact that Bayern just signed Jonas Urbig from Köln as a goalkeeper, which then begs the question as to who is actually taking over from Neuer. For the longest time, it's been Nübel, and then you have Ulrich, and then you have Peretz. And how does that all fit in? A young, very talented goalkeeper, German goalkeeper. Just on a last thing, though, Mathys Tel is being rumored to leave Bayern, hasn't played the last 3 Bundesliga games, limited minutes. We remember him starting so well at Bayern at such a young age, at 17 years old, but really struggled for time over this last period, especially under Company. Should Mathys Tel leave Bayern on loan? Is that the best move for him right now, or is it better for him to stay?
Well, it's down to the dialogue that he have with Bayern, but the thing is, he's not playing, and that was also a player. They have great hopes in him, and they're getting less and less minutes. The problem is, and Bayern haven't somehow managed to do that on the keeper position and the number 9 position. They're always talking about strikers. They got to get in to play if Kane is injured. They always say that what will happen with Manuel Neuer. They got a lot of goalkeepers now, Marcus, but they have also had some injuries at the goalkeeping position, so they have been struggling a bit. And it's quite hard for Max Eberl and Christoph Freund to try to attract the striker to come to Bayern if you know that you're just understudy for Harry Kane. Mathys Tel he's been a perfect profile for that, because he's a young player that can learn from Harry Kane and then get his minutes. But you need to play football. And that's the problem with some of these young kids playing for the big clubs. They end up not playing games. And because there's not, back in my days, there were a well-functioning reserve team kind of league, at least in England. Now that is also a part of it. Yes, you can play in the League Cup, the FA Cup, but maybe some of the clubs, there's only 1 or 2 games there anyway. So I think that if you make a stats of we're talking a lot about the players playing unbelievable lot of games, like Erling Haaland or a Salah or Van Dijk. But if you see a lot of the players that are in the extended squad of Premier League clubs or Bundesliga, there's not many minutes for them to play. So Mathys Tel, I guess Mathys Tel will think that, wow, let's see how it works till the summer, because if he goes to,
so you think he should? Yeah, you think he should wait it out till the summer?
I think he should wait out to the summer, being a part of maybe a champion year of Bayern. Never underestimate that. And then he have to ask himself, and Chelsea got to ask himself as well. So if Nkunku goes the other way, and he has a background from German football, and that is great, he could be an understudy and he can have different position in that Bayern team. But will Mathys Tel play instead of Jackson? So that is a question they got to ask Chelsea. And Tel got to ask, if I go to Chelsea, how many games will I get? So I will wait till the summer and make a strategy on my career, sit down with Bayern, maybe go 1 year loan, not only 6 months, go on 1 year loan somewhere. We've seen a lot of players doing that very successfully, coming back as new players, because to get experience, you need to have experience. And then you have to have hard playing minutes. That's all what it's all about. And Mathys Tel Bayern see him every day, and we see him only the few minutes he's on, but he hasn't taken the next step. His camp will then say, which is right, but to develop, you have to play 1, 2, 3, 4 games in a row. And especially for a striker, it's all about getting those goals, getting that confidence in there. So if I was Mathys Tel, I would stay 6 months. And just at the end, Marcus, before you will found something else, what about Julian Nagelsmann? Extended his contract till 2028.
You're ahead of me, but let's talk about that. Let's talk about Julian Nagelsmann. It went a bit under the radar, that, because as part of the DFB's 125th anniversary, they did announce on Friday that Julian Nagelsmann has extended his contract till 2028, where it will be in Ireland and in England, as far as I believe. It started initially, Dad, as him taking over.
Scotland don't have it. It's only Ireland and England.
Well, let me see.
I'll give you the chance to talk.
Yeah, it's Great Britain, but I wasn't entirely sure, to be fair. All right, let's do that. Okay, maybe I'll change the edits. Maybe I'm not. Listen, Scotland, I do think of you often. I love for it to be your country.
I saved you that. But yes, but the thing is with Julian Nagelsmann, and I talk a lot with Ståle Solbakken. I talk a lot of national coaches, and I worked with the national team. It is an honor to have to run the football of your country. I mean, it's an unbelievable way of being an ambassador, having a great job, And Julian Nagelsmann is seeing the same thing that everybody else seeing, that something is growing now in German football. And when they're growing in German football, they were unlucky with Esco Correa. Should have been penalties. Should they have come to the next round kind of situation? Maybe they could have gone all the way when they were the host. Now the World Cup is in Mexico, Canada, USA. Then they go to Great Britain. Wow, there are some there are some challenges for them. And Julian Nagelsmann think, I love this. Mm-hmm. And I have to add another person who is in and around the national team, has been for over a generation, Rudi Völler. I think Rudi Völler can talk you into anything. And Rudi Völler, when he sets out his charm, when he sets out his knowledge, this was the guy who was an interim coach with a bad German side in 2002, took them to the final, were the better team in the final. Kahn made a mistake. Ronaldo 1 or 2 goals in the final. And Brazil won the champions, won the World Cup. So Rudi Völler, I mean, World Cup winner in 1990. So Julian Nagelsmann has decided. And if you think of it, Mark, it's 2025 now. It's coming 2025. You play now they're
playing the Nations League as Italy. If they win that, they're hosting the tournament. You can already win silverware then.
Exactly. Then you have the World Cup in 2026. Then you play the qualification. So there's so much to look forward to. And I think Julian Nagelsmann, wow, even that I'm a young kid in this branch, he's thinking, this is great. I want to run. I want to lead my country. I mean, that is what I envy him, because I love the national team, and I love that he done that.
Well, I think it's also a testament to sort of the evolving love affair between Nagelsmann and the job. His statement even was said that in September 2023, when I joined the DFB, I couldn't have imagined being the national coach beyond the home European Championship last summer 2024. Our big goal was a successful tournament, but I also couldn't have imagined back then what the national team means to the people of Germany, how many hearts it reaches and moves. And I think he's realized how special this job is. And quite frankly, I can't think of anyone better to take Germany in this generational shift they're in, with 2 of the most talented players Germany have ever seen in Musiala and Wirtz, which he's proved that they work together and could play together. Add on all the other talent Germany have. It's a match made in heaven in many ways, or it's at least been so far. So for me, I'm very happy to see it, and it's nice to see Nagelsmann's sort of realization of what it means to be the national team coach of Germany.
And just at the end, Marcus, to put some politics into this, there is a diversity in the world. There is a diversity in Germany. There is a new election coming up now. Every country needs something to rely on. Every country needs someone to dance around, get their identity. There can be a lot of different things where they can pick that up. But one thing is the football team, the Fußballmannschaft, the Mannschaft. And Nagelsmann has just seen, wow, I want to have that position, and all the best to him.
And just with a few minutes left, I'll go quickly through the rest of the round. Gladbach beat Bochum 3-0. First win for them after following the Rückrunde and 3 losses in a row. St. Pauli beat Union Berlin. Stefan Baumgart. Not much has changed since they sacked Bo Svensson, and Horst Held has a job to do. They need a striker. They need something to change, having lost 3 of their last 4 games. Mainz beat Stuttgart 2-0. They are now in 6th, 1 point behind Stuttgart and RB Leipzig. Wow, what Bo Henriksen is doing there. Nelson Viper, the talented 19-year-old, scored the first goal, got the nod in replacement of Johnny Burkhardt, who is injured, while Stuttgart find themselves still in 4th. Dortmund give away a 2-0 lead. You can look at our previous episode when we address what is going on behind the scenes at Dortmund and the fans' protests in this game. Also addressing the elephant in the room, meaning then Watzke, Kehl, Ricken, Mislintat, etc., and saying there's something beyond just the manager here, and they're very right in saying so. They currently sit 11th in the Bundesliga. Still, I say only 6 points behind Champions League spots, but nonetheless, they lost their lead when Werder Bremen got back. And then Hoffenheim, deservedly so, Dad, we have to say, got their draw, scored in the 95th minute, equalized in the 95th minute. Ekitike, 2 goals. I do not know that, worryingly so for Eintracht, how long they can keep Ekitike. Ekitike is such a special player. He has a special frame. He's 6'3", 6'4", so 191. He's got technique. He's got pace. Eintracht can command, I think, a similar fee as what they got to Marmoush for Ekitike. That's how good I think he is. And Hoffenheim got their 2-2 draw. And I don't have any ending thoughts regarding that summary or the Eintracht performance.
No, I saw that game, and at the end of the game, they got deeper and deeper. Hoffenheim came closer and closer, and to be fair to them, the equalizer was good. It wasn't a half-ish volley kind of thing. On the other hand, this weekend, I didn't know how much I should compliment Marmoush for his performance, because he was excellent against Chelsea. Came on straight away. I felt so sorry for Kusanov, the mistake he did. But he will be okay. And I also big compliment to the City fans, how they kind of loved him somehow, applauding him going off. I like that. But Marmoush was brilliant. And yeah, as you're saying, Frankfurt got so many more potential sales object. I just hope they will keep some of them, because or most of them, because the Champions League is still in there. And they didn't lose the game, but both Topmüller and Krösche, I saw and heard their comments, not happy with the performance. But let's go again. Rome on Thursday in the Europa League.
Exactly. And then with European games coming up as well, and balancing that, well, we'll see. But they benefited from the fact that Stuttgart and RB Leipzig dropped points as well. Last segment, Dad, we want to make this a little recurring thing, a little fun game, so to speak. But I gave you the challenge. I said, I want your top 5 transfers from the January transfer window for Bundesliga teams. You might call this a little niche challenge, and so it is. But when we did our research on it, there are some very good signings there from the January transfer window. So I'll let you take it away with your top 5 Bundesliga January transfer moves.
And to understand that the transfer window is a bit different in Germany, because they have a break, so it's more natural maybe to build up people pull in. But as you were saying, Marcus, when we went through the candidates, wow, have they done some great signings in that window in the Bundesliga. I have ended with I will start with number 5. I go the other way. I put my glasses on because I need to. Number 5 is Schick, Patrick Schick. He went from Leipzig to Leverkusen back in January 21. And the reason I put him in there is because he's enormous impact on the history of the Bundesliga, because finally there was a team who managed to take down Bayern Munich from the throne, and Patrick Schick played a very important role there. Remember Boniface, Schick, Wirtz, they were always scoring goals. He was always scoring these injury kind of goals. Then next one is another striker. There's a lot of strikers. Sorry, Marcus, I have to put a lot of strikers in there. I will put in Dzeko. Dzeko going for Teplic from Wolfsburg. Back in the days, in 2007, ended up winning being champions in Germany, played up front with Grafit and Magath. And then, before we have the winners, I have 2 winners, Marcus. Who did we put on the 3rd place? You have it.
No, well, the third. I gave you the open one for that. I mean, there's good candidates. We have Luis Gustavo, Dante, and Naldo, and all the kinds. We have an Upamecano who got signed as well.
Yes,
we have Barbares from back in the day.
Yes, that was the candidate. That was the open space that you gave me to decide here. I would say Dante, because Dante came to Gladbach and did a great job for Bayern Munich later. Then he won trophies. He played under Pep Guardiola. It was so funny.
He won the treble as well, so we give him that.
We give him that, and a great defender. And I remember once I interviewed him. I guess all these things will be based on personal experience as well. I remember, listen, when Pep is giving you all this, because Pep was shouting at him all the time how he wanted him in his role as a defender. He said, oh yes, it's stressing, but he's a great coach. Yeah, I understand. But when you get the ball, he will always shout in the alternatives. Yeah, but he is a great coach. So Dante I'll put there. And the winners. I mean, 2 City players, former City players. De Bruyne suddenly going from Chelsea to Wolfsburg, he kind of reinvented his career there. I remember I couldn't believe De Bruyne, how he developed there. And also as number one, Erling Haaland. We can never forget when we came to Augsburg, met his dad outside. He came on around 61st or 62nd minute and ending up scoring a hat-trick. And the rest is, as they say, history. So De Bruyne and Haaland, my two top January signing in Germany.
Yeah, they're two top signings. I'll give it that. Thanks, Dad, for the top 5 list. And with that, we conclude this episode from our Monday, and we will catch up again later. Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.